Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
We're going to be reviewing the Velotric Nomad 2X next on Now Let's Review. All right, Jesse, this is a lot of bike. In fact, I have no place to stand. There's so much bike here. This thing is, I think, the longest bike we've reviewed yet.
Yeah, it's over 6.5 feet long.
Wow.
Which is more than 2 meters for you metric folks.
Did it fit on our bike rack?
It just fit. I think that this is the largest bike we've ever reviewed.
And I think why that is right here. Because there's so much travel, there's 120 millimeters of travel, they gave you a lot of extra space here, which forces the wheel out there.
And to give you a lot of space back here. And also, this is a bike made for big people.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I see a lot of larger men riding e-bikes, and it's nice that fat tires have been invented. And so you can weigh up to 560 pounds, or at least 560 pounds of payload. So that would mean 120 pounds on the back if you want to, plus 440 pounds of rider. So if you're on the larger side, this could be a bike solution for you.
And if you're not on the larger side, they do sell a smaller version of this bike, which is a step through. Yeah. So basically getting rid of this, lowering everything, making it a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, let's talk about this because this is set at the lowest seat height, I believe, right now. And they say that you can be 5'10" to 6'10" to ride this bike. So great for taller people. I'm 5'9" and I can ride it, but it does kind of go beyond my comfort zone because when I hop off, I want to make sure I have a lot of room here.
Yeah, I'm 5'10.5-ish, 5'11", and it's big. It feels big. I do think that for a taller guy, this would be awesome. But let's talk about what this bike is for. And this is basically a no holds barred. This is a big, everything you want on an e-bike is basically here.
Yeah, I mean, you can go off-roading with this, no problem, because it's got torque sensing and cadence sensing, which is a first for us. So you can switch between cadence and torque. Personally, I don't know why you want to switch back to cadence, but if you want to, it's there. But not only does it have 5 power assist levels, which is very common, it also has 3 boost levels. So eco, trail, and boost.
So this gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of power. I like that some of the more minimum settings allow you to put in a lot more work. So if you did want to get some exercise, this is a great bike for that. And then if you want to just go tooling around, you just, with a couple presses of a button, this thing turns into a dirt bike.
It's got a 750 watt motor on the back, but that does peak up at 1400 watts. So plenty of peak to get you up a hill, which is great because there's plenty of times we've gone trail riding and you get to some unbelievable steep hills and you get some speed going, but still near the top, you like
peter out. Right.
This thing is going to make it to the top. I want to talk about the seat. I know it's not a sexy thing to talk about, but they gave like the largest saddle seat I've seen so far on an e-bike that you don't have to go out and buy yourself. It's super comfy. I love that they did that.
Yeah, I think that probably 80% of people are going to stick with the seat because it's nice and big. It'll actually accommodate, especially some of the larger riders that might be on this bike.
Now, can we talk about the suspension? Because this isn't your regular old suspension. Front suspension, you might be like, yeah, guys, I've seen that before. But this is different. You can pop off the cap here and you can pump up the suspension to whatever is the correct weight for you. Jesse and I were just playing around with that. We found the right weight. And as soon as we found it, Jesse went,
I've never felt suspension like that.
I filmed it. Here's what it looked like. Now, as you're watching this, just pay attention to the front wheel. See how it's soaking up all those bumps. Now I want to turn our attention to the rear. You can do the same thing back here. It's a different ratio, and so you'll pump it up differently. And you might be like, do I use a bike pump for this? No. There's a couple reasons why. One is this back one, for instance, you do have to pump up to at least around 150 PSI, which most bike pumps can't get to. Secondly, when you're taking it off, you want to have a quick release. So you're going to want to buy yourself something specifically made for this. And so this is called a shock pump. We'll put a link down below to one that you can get. They're not that expensive, but it is a specialized item. So we got this up to the rated number that it said. Then you went for a ride, and this is what it looked like.
Yeah, it felt really, really good. It was soaking up bumps. Now, I know that that's just like a grassy yard, but it was feeling a lot smoother than most of the bikes that we've been on. So many times you'll see front forks where they're kind of sticky. They just kind of like stay in one spot.
Oh, well, that's
this
another
was
thing.
Floating all around.
Yeah, you adjusted that. So right down here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little red screw, and you can adjust how quickly it dampens back and forth. So it takes the hit, and then how quickly will it rebound to take another hit? Because a lot of times on the trails that we're on, we're on rocky trails, and so you just rock after rock after rock. You need it to rebound quickly. But if you have a different ride that day, you can adjust it to be a little bit more smooth.
And that can be done on the fly with just your fingers, which is really, really great.
So when you get this, it's a level 2 bike. It'll go up to 20 miles an hour, but you can unlock it very easily here. It doesn't take a lot of skills to do, and you can get up to 28 miles an hour, which means it's a level 3 bike, but don't tell anybody.
And let's talk about range. On their website, they say that this bike has a range of 50 miles with throttle and 75 miles with pedaling. Now, I'm going to say that they're going to be close as long as you're doing the pedaling in some of the lower pedal assist levels and the throttle not just pinned.
Right, if you're pinning it, I think you're going to get like 30 miles, but if you're pinning it sometimes, yes, I believe that. And the reason I believe that is the battery. So there's a couple UL ratings here, which I'm really happy to see. 2580 is for the cells, and these are Samsung 2170s, the same that used to be in Model 3s. And
UL 2271 covers the pack itself. The bike also has another UL listing,
which is UL 2849, which will cover you if you in places like New York City, where you have to have that rating to have the bike.
Which is funny because I don't think New York City deserves to have a bike this awesome.
So the bike comes in 3 colors, this beautiful blue, an obsidian, which is like a glossy black that almost shows like rainbow colors in it, and then a camo, which by the time you're watching this video should be out. Now, the reason camo is applicable is because this bike has something called stealth mode. And I was first like, what the heck is stealth mode doing on an e-bike? What is that for?
It's for hunting. So I just love that it has stealth mode. What stealth mode does is it allows you to have different top speeds for pedaling and for throttle, which I think is really great. So if you're out in the bush and you're stalking prey and you don't want them to hear you come up, the faster you go, the louder you're going to be. So you can set, say, a pedal. You don't have to like think about the speed that you're going. You can set the pedal speed at, let's say, 10 miles an hour, set the throttle speed to 28 for like the chase. And it will keep all the lights off. It'll dim the screen. Even if you like have gloves on or something, and you fumble with, say, the turn signals, it won't turn them on. So it's really made for hunting, sneaky, stealthy stuff, which I think is really a nice feature. They obviously know who their audience is here.
That's cool. I didn't think about e-biking and hunting. That's really cool because it makes sense. You can get into a forest and out and so forth.
And I mean, speaking of hunting, you probably have to carry the thing out. And this, you can get a trailer, and this has 1,000 pounds towing capacity.
Oh wait, so that would carry out a full-scale buck?
Yeah.
That's cool. I've never seen that, but if you have footage of that, please link it down below in the comments. I would love to see an e-bike carrying out a deer. Another thing I like about this bike is that this is adjustable. On a lot of bikes, it comes, that's it, and you have no choice. Here, you can adjust this back and forward so that you can adjust how much you're up or forward as you ride. You might want to be more forward because you're more stable and you can like react better. But if you're just going for a leisurely bike ride, you could just adjust this backwards so that you can be a little bit more, upright. If you're an iOS user, this has Apple Health and Find My support. So you can find your bike and you can link it to all of your health stats, which is pretty cool. Also, there is a Velotric app so that you can control a bunch of things and see a bunch of things about your ride in the app.
The nice part for me is that you don't need the app to unlock any features on this bike. That is a really big plus for me because most apps, let's face it, are not very good.
Yeah, and also you're out in the bush, you don't have to worry that you're gonna lose Bluetooth connection or something. Let's talk about the screen. I really like it, even though it's simple. It's really nice colors and really well laid out. I think of all the bikes I've seen, this one so far to me is the most, well designed. And so you've got a lot of information, but it's displayed so nicely, and the controls here are so small and so well done. Minimal number of buttons, but they all make sense to my brain.
Well, not minimal number of buttons. There's more buttons on this than I think half the e-bikes we have.
I guess I just thought of it as so little, but you're right. There's the power button, there's the mode button.
You have left, right. So you can actually navigate a menu system that makes sense. It doesn't feel like you're programming a digital watch at all. It shows the arrows on screen so you know what you're going to do when you press the buttons. I really, really like that. It's a small touch, but it's a big deal to me. There's a lot of adjustability in the screen as well. You can do all sorts of things in terms of, cadence sensing. So let's talk a little bit about the sensor swap that you can do with this bike. It has torque sensing and it has cadence sensing. Normally we're talking about one or the other on a bike. And normally I like torque a lot better than cadence.
Me too.
The only time cadence I think ever really comes into play is for long distance riding where you don't want to pin a throttle and you want to get a little bit of a workout, but you don't want the torque. basically,
on the road?
yeah, you can set a top speed for different speed levels on the cadence sensing.
That's nice.
And so that can be kind of nice. That can be for...
I always wish for that on the Cadence bikes we have.
Right. So, I mean, obviously this is a little bit more of a rural bike. And so setting some different speed levels for when you're doing a big, long, straight shot, that could be kind of nice. I don't think it's necessary at all. I think you're going to love it in torque. It's going to feel really good in torque. But I thought that it was a nice touch. One other thing about the torque sensing, torque can be a little scary because without any movement in the pedals, you can assert some torque on the bike and that can get it to start moving.
Oh, you mean like if you're kind of just stopped at a red light and you just lean on the pedal a little bit, it can start to go.
And that can be dangerous because what can happen is if your leg is right in front of this pedal and then you apply a little bit of torque to the other pedal, your leg, which is now, touching the ground, can become stuck.
Oh, right.
What I noticed with this bike, which is a nice little safety feature, but something to be aware of, is that it won't kick in with the torque sensing until you're up to a speed.
Oh, interesting.
So you might be like, oh no, but you have the thumb throttle, which is really, really nice. So this gives it, there's 3 different modes of travel. There's thumb, there's cadence, and there's torque. I mean, it has everything.
Yeah. I really love the handles. Just everything about this bike says quality to me. Like they spent the money on the parts, and so you can feel really good about the bike, especially when you're going out into the forest or a long trail. Like we've gone up into New Hampshire and stuff, and you kind of realize it at some point. You're like, there's no one here. And that's when you want to rely on your bike. And I just feel like everything about this bike was quality.
Yep.
All the way down to the paint and the welds, like everything just looks top notch to me. I just kind of have already fallen in love with the bike.
Absolutely. And that does bring us to price. Let's talk about it. Zach, lay it on me.
$23.99.
It's expensive, but there are e-bikes that are far more expensive than this.
I mean, yeah.
If you walk into any bike shop,
you're talking $4,000.
And not anywhere close to any of the features, any of the power, any of the range of this bike. Yeah, most Trek bikes that when you walk into the bike store are going to start at that price. And then just go up from there and not really bring you half the features that this thing has.
Yeah.
Now, there are cheaper e-bikes that I would recommend if you don't need all of these features.
Oh, totally.
But this is a go anywhere, do anything kind of e-bike that, it's kicking ass, it's taking names, it's everything.
It weighs 80 pounds, so I do want to talk about that. Putting it on and off a bike rack, if that's what you're going to be doing, is a little bit challenging, but it did work on our bike rack. I would just recommend 2 people whenever possible.
Yes.
Because yeah, it's beefy and it's big. So keep that in mind. It's not the kind of thing you're going to want to just toss around or carry upstairs, but you know that looking at this bike. Come on.
Right. It definitely has that kind of rural feel where it feels like you're going to probably take this out of your barn or garage and go ride it into the woods from your house.
Yeah.
If you did need to pack it up, you'd probably stick it on the back of a pickup truck. A ramp would be nice. A ramp for anything is probably required for this. You're not going to carry this upstairs, obviously.
I love that it has the fenders. I love that it has a spot to put your water bottle here and another one here, which is really great. So you can have a bunch of different attachments. I would recommend putting a phone holder on it right away, and pannier bags would be great. If you are going to get pannier bags, this is nice because it's a thin enough rail in the back so that you can put snap-ons. I've been doing a lot of looking at pannier bags, and the problem is a lot of them are Velcro, so it makes them universal. But when you go to take them on and off, which is what you want to do, then you got to sit there and then strap them and strap.
And
it
all
takes like
4,
3 minutes.
yeah, exactly.
Whereas the snap-on ones, you go. So I would recommend that if you're interested in it. The other thing I love about this bike is this button here, these 2. It's the left and right turn signal buttons. And when you click them, you can decide this in the menu system, but you can have it stay a noise, like making that click noise, to remind you that they are on, or you can have it shut off. And that way you don't do what I do all the time, which is I have my left turn signal on for an hour.
With such a heavy bike, it's nice that it has very good and large brake rotors, 203 millimeters in the front, 180 in the back. These are dual cylinder hydraulic disc brakes.
Yeah, so you get 2 pistons.
You get 2 pistons, nice strong brake response, which I really appreciate on such a big, heavy, fast bike.
And I want to talk about the IPX. The bike is IPX6, and that means it can get like rained on. But the battery is IPX7, which means you can do like high pressure washing and water won't get in there. So that's just nice to know. I wouldn't leave this bike out all the time, although to be honest, we have done that. So as long as it's just rain, you should be fine. But that's really nice knowing that your battery is really well protected.
One thing to maybe be aware of would be having it outside on your car driving in the rain. That might be a cause for concern. You might want to not or try to avoid doing that specifically.
That's a good point, especially if you don't have your battery on while you're traveling. You might want to dry that out before you put your battery in there. Because when you are picking this up, every bit of weight you can take off of it is better. So take that battery out when you're lifting it.
So this comes with an 8-speed Shimano, and if you take a look at the gears right here, you can see that right now we're in the high gear, which means that it's the smaller sprocket. But you can see that big sprocket here, that's for the low gear. Really nice big spread, and that's really helpful for such a heavy bike because in the low gear you might actually be able to pedal it without any pedal assist. And you might say, Jesse, why would you want to do that? To which I would say, sometimes you do run out of battery, and it's really nice if you can limp home.
Yep.
Because there are just some e-bikes that they just geared them for the high speed and you can't ride them without any motor support.
There are so many cool features I forgot to mention in this screen. So for instance, you get to see not only your battery temperature, you get to see your motor controller temperature, which is nice. A lot of times Jesse and I will do something a little bit crazy with our bikes. We'll like really push them hard and we want to just make sure everything's cool. And there you can see if it is actually cool. Mm-hmm. So that's really nice to see. And lastly, the headlights, 130 lux headlight, which is adjustable up and down, and it's really bright and it's really nice to have visibility like that when you're riding. So anyway, if we go right now to the pros and cons, I don't think I have any cons for this bike. I do. Really love it. What's yours?
Weight.
Sure.
Weight is a definite con. You need to know that before you get it. If you're someone who's like, I want to ride this, that's great. Just know, leave it on the ground. Don't pick it up. You can't put this in a vehicle unless you're gonna have someone's help. I think even I am gonna have trouble getting this onto the bike rack by myself. I could probably do it, but I'm gonna be swearing the whole time. The only other downside is gonna be the cost. I mean, I think that it is a very good value, but obviously there are e-bikes that are cheaper, and you can check out our channel for some of those. We should be coming out with one that's under $700, which I think is actually an okay-ish bike. No, it pales in comparison to this thing. But it's great that there are so many different types of e-bikes and the prices just keep getting better.
If you're planning on going off-road, so if you're planning on going through forests or trails like that, really do think about suspension, and it's an easy word to toss around. We've ridden on many, many bikes that have full suspension. This is a next level suspension. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, if you're gonna spend a lot of time doing that, you might want to consider the extra few $100 that it costs to get this real suspension, because I think it's going to be a game changer for you.
Well, I think you can tell that Zach and I really like this bike.
We're going to be fighting over whose bike it is, actually.
Luckily, it's the big one, and I'm slightly taller than Zach, so I think I might be getting it. I urge you to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and let us know in the comments what you think of this bike, if there are other e-bikes or e-scooters that you want us to check out. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time on Now Let's Review.